one, always trying to keep him out of trouble.
Oh no, don't say that.
These two are on a mission to be the voice of the people. Lagos, are you ready? The Big Bird has landed.
This is Seun and kuti.
And I'm Ifunanya. Join us every Friday, 11 a.m.
Ifunanya is not.
God, guess what's happening right now? It is the start of the midday show, and we're about to kick off with the people's perspective. I need the bell. Now, the people's perspective is for those who love to take a good look at the headlines, major headlines in Nigeria. And of course, we're going to be doing that through the
It's Friday, everybody.
Yay! So, how's your weekend gonna be? Is it Christmas weekend? Any plans?
Oh, well, you know me, I don't do Christmas.
Why?
Because it saves me from giving gifts.
But
Yeah.
you receive at least.
Yeah, I mean, from my Christian friends, of course.
Oh, all right.
I'm the one that is not a Christian.
So what? Religion are you then?
I'm
What
not.
faith?
Well, religion I don't do, but I'm highly spiritual.
Break it down to.
Yeah, I just had to follow them to church so we could go and be playing, at St. Leo's Catholic Church.
Oh.
But they chased us from the church.
Why?
Because I was training for altar boy. I used to go to catechism and all of that.
Okay.
But then we stole the wine and the bread that they were saving. For Holy Communion. But we were hungry. Abi, can somebody be hungry while working for the Lord? God should make sure that
Let's look at this major headline now. We saw a headline, I'm seeing one right now on Punch that says the federal government plans to actually establish 2 disarmament, de-radicalization, rehabilitation, and reintegration centers for repentant members of Boko Haram. And other terrorist groups. Now, this center is going to cost at least 2.4 billion naira.
Cash out.
And it will be spent on these.
So you're also dehumanizing yourself. So there's trauma in both ends. The fact that a criminal has trauma is no, except we want to go back to the African way of truly restoring people back to their true self when they commit crimes. As long as we are in this system and we still want to punish people, we are punitive. We have to, say they call a spade a spade. All I'm saying is that we already have prison.
True.
That is for correcting.
The National Security Advisor, Baba Gana Monguno, he appeared to defend this before the committee in the Senate, to defend the respective budget. It is, there's a proposal for this amount, 2.4, and, he lamented
2.4 what? Say,
billion naira.
Is important.
So I said, of course, this initiative, which was actually
Also, like you just like by the time a criminal gets to prison, it's already too late. Like what we need to do, this rehabilitation that the government is talking about, should be happening in our lives from when we are born. We should be giving good access to good education, good healthcare, job opportunities. If people had safe jobs, I mean, being a terrorist is probably one of the most dangerous jobs. It's like your life is here one day and it's gone the next. Who would want to do that instead of being a good carpenter or providing the adequate society and adequate environment that will fulfill the potential of the Nigerian people. So until that is put in place, there will always be manifestation of some kind of criminality, even among people that already have jobs.
True.
You know, we act like as if it's only these terrorists that are criminal. Jobs in the banks, there's massive criminality.
Everywhere, every
in
level.
the petroleum industry, look at all the queues, massive criminality at every level. If look at the way our police and military men behave on the streets, like thugs. You are in the government, in the Senate, in the House of Legislature, everywhere you look, you know. So this is we are in a crimogenic society, and until we look in a way to change that from the source, in a way that Nigerians can begin to do things that are productive, that this society is producing things and engaging its citizens in a way that they can fulfill their potential.
And they're not just idle.
Exactly, and also there's not idle is one thing. Also to just waste away, to just see life passing you by.
You can't utilize your potential.
You see yourself. You know what you can do. Many people have gone to school, you know, have gotten degrees. We've done the things you say that we should do to become successful people in life. We have gone to primary school, we've gone to secondary, we've kept our head down, we didn't cause trouble, we went to university, we paid all the bribes, we bought all the handouts, we did everything. Now we are here with certificates, still no job.
True.
You know, people without qualifications are making it in life. They're accessing everything. What do you want people to do? There's a level of frustration people break, you know. So
what do you think about, you know, this center now? Is it kind of like appalling in the sense that victims of Boko Haram, the menace, you know, IDPs, internally displaced persons, they're not being given this much attention. You know, there was a time we saw repentant members of Boko Haram indoctrinated into society. We saw them, you know, collecting their certificates of indoctrination. They had their white and green. Everyone, there was an outcry that way. Now, this center being built, what if we said that this money could be used for the standoff between the federal government and the academic staff union of universities? What if it could be channeled into equipping our military in order to bring to an end this menace that Boko Haram insurgency has brought about? What if it's being channeled into the internally displaced persons, you know, just helping them start all over
but you see,
again?
the truth is, they don't talk about all these things, but money is being channeled into all these things too.
Really?
Yes, but it's not being used. It's not being. I'm telling you, IDPs, they're claiming money on them. The way they are claiming money on education, but is it being used for those things? That's the question.
Sure.
And Nigeria also, we've given Nigeria to a few individuals. Everything that is the commonwealth of the people of this country, from the land to grow food to build houses. I mean, 8 years like we have been under APC, and the 16 years before that under PDP. Can we say that this government has delivered up to 2,000 public housing units for the 200 million people of Nigeria, you know, and all the people living on less than $1 a day? Where is the housing? You know, when I was growing up in this country, public education was the benchmark.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to go to a federal government college. Everybody wanted to go to King's College. everybody wanted to go to, if I wanted to go to Queen's College.
I was in Queen's
You know,
College.
and if you didn't make it to that one, everybody was trying to go to Odogbolu or Ijanikin,
Ijanikin,
Model College.
Sure.
But, I mean, you would be a fool today to want to send your child to any one of those schools. Why? Because a few individuals have cornered education in such a way that they've also lobbied their friends in government to defund public education. Where they defund public healthcare so that they can own the private healthcare and be raking in money from that. You know, so this is the real issue. It's not that there's no money for all these things. They are forced to defund them, you know, for the benefit of a few individuals, and that the snowball effect of that is that we have less people that are well educated, less healthy people. So imagine your mother is sick, and your father is sick at the same time, especially in the northern part of this country where, as we know, the healthcare is really bad, education is really bad, hygiene is really low because of the government, their government's inability, you know, in the north to sanitize the environment, you know. So we see them having, I mean, cholera is back in eastern Nigeria, polio is back in northern Nigeria. So there's massive, yes, an eradicated disease back in this country. So their Lassa fever is decimating them right now as well. So there's a high level of health problems in that place. So your father is sick, your mother is sick, you don't have money, but there's terrorism that's going to give you some money to treat your. I mean, so but if there were basic services, if there were basic services to ameliorate some of these situations, I'm sure. So this is what we need to look at. How is the government going to develop this country to meet the potential of the people?
All right, you mentioned something about a region, certain regions, the southeast, the northern part of Nigeria. Now, during the course of the week, we saw the World Bank say that it's going to take approximately 4 decades, 40 years for the northern part of Nigeria to catch up with the south. And this is based on education, agriculture, security being at an all-time low due to insurgency and, some beliefs and all of that. But a lot of people said, no, the World Bank can't come here and make so many reports and just tell us what not, blah, blah, blah. But looking at that report, there is not much of a lie in it. But what do you think about the report? Is it really true? It might take up to 40 years?
And it's going to take Africa 300 years to catch up with the West.
Oh,
so,
really?
But this is if we follow the model that they've set up for us. A model that will keep us chasing. We as African people, we must become innovative for our own selves. We must begin to innovate and invent ways to accelerate our development. That's how they said about China. They said it will take China 1,000 years.
And look at where China is today.
China has surpassed anybody that is thinking is the biggest economical power in the world today.
But
when
China
you see,
has sorry to interject. China has put in place so many strict policies about corruption. If you're found embezzling public funds, you might be put to death. There are so many things, and it entails discipline. I don't see this country or Africa at large, implementing that in our political society at any time.
When China was being run by what's the guy that Chairman Mao defeated again, that ran to Taiwan, the capitalists of China that ran to form that ran away to Taiwan when they were defeated by the People's Army. You find out that China too was like this, rife with corruption. When they were under this Western controlled puppeteer kind of government. But as soon as they got a government that was oriented towards their own people and towards their own development, then laws like this against treason became important, and anything you do against the people became important. Right now, our government don't really care about the people. You can do anything you like to Nigerian people. The government of Nigeria don't really care because they are doing worse to the Nigerian people, So when we get a pro-people government, then things, that kind of government knows that it's there to protect the interest of the people. The government we have today is there to protect the interest of multinationals and maybe a few individuals doing business with those multinationals. Nigeria right now is open for business, not open for development. You know, so there's a big difference.
Wow.
You know, you can even see it in the way our major industries are run. We might say we are independent. We might say we are not under Western control anymore. But about 70% of our economy, even more than 70% of our economy is still foreign owned. You know, I mean, look at telecommunications. You know, Glo is probably the only local player.
Indigenous, yeah.
You know, so that's 75%.
So is it safe to say that we are still imperialized? Like there's
Everybody is. Everybody
imperialism?
is, yes, and we are not taking steps to remove those chains of imperialism. And when people say, "Oh, do what Singapore has done, do what China has done," people forget that, you know, the Chinese actually had to go to war with imperialism to remove its chains. You know.
You know, another thing, China is made up of different ethnic groups, right? But, you know, there is more or less a common language, Mandarin, you know, all of that. Nigeria is diverse culturally. For us to overcome imperialism, you know, we have to turn and channel that energy into nationalism. Nationalism entails a common language, possibly a common faith, oneness in voice and ideology. We've seen that happen in the United States, which is a hegemon. We've seen that happen in Russia. We've seen that happen in the United Kingdom, where people come from different backgrounds, but they assume, oh, I'm English or I'm American. They put their personal identity aside.
No, but you know, this is another mistake that we see. You know, when we look at the Western world, you know, we think that they are quite, you know,
United.
hegemonous in their, and they make it look like that. You know, but at the same time, there are deep divisions.
True.
You know, that exist between them that, you know what I mean? Brexit, for example, is a manifestation of such a division, you know, that the British people, and even in England itself, you know, there's the English, the Welsh, the Scottish, and the Irish, you know, and the Scottish right now are vying for independence, you know, from
and Southern Ireland wants nothing to do with the United
exactly.
Kingdom.
So there's always what they put their united front forward all the time.
Exactly.
But if you truly study them, you know, unity
it's not their biggest
is
strength.
not. I always say to people, unity is not essential for development. America is as divided as you can ever think of. Listen, America is so deeply divided. You know, like, look at people storming the Capitol after the election.
The riot,
trying to overturn the election of their own country. We had 75 million people voted for Trump, 77 million people voted for Biden. That shows deep divide in their national narrative. You know, but these things don't really, you know, matter when you have develop. You know, to develop, you don't need to love yourselves.
You just need to be able to.
You need
work
to have
together.
an understanding of what you need to do. That's what matters. And we as African people have not really. We've always been diverse. Africa has always been. We have always been a diverse people, you know, and we've lived in harmony in that. In our differences have not really created a disharmonious Africa until we were encountered with the interest of foreigners, you know, that began to set deep divisions amongst us. You know, these divisions had never been the things that drove our relationships. Yes, people are different. People are always different, but we've never used those differences as the yardstick of measuring our relationships until 300 to 400 years ago, that those divisions were being pushed to the front by outsiders to create, you know, the right atmosphere that they needed to exploit us, you know. And we've not come back to have that conversation. I mean, look at Lagos, for example. I always say to people, if African people, if Nigerians did not like themselves, you know, if Nigerians could not live together, then there can be no place like this Lagos state. You know, in my house, I'm Yoruba. 10 feet from me are some Hausa people that are always walking in our area. Next to them is some Igbo people selling, and we all get along together. We make that area work. You know, everybody is benefiting together in that place. You know, and that's who we are. You know, so I think, you know, when people are like, "Oh, we have to be united," we are We are not really looking at the world
The bigger
from,
picture.
we are not looking at the world realistically, We are not looking at the world realistically. We can always form organizations to get things done. It has nothing to do with how we see, view, love, unite with each
So
other.
that's
and all these
putting
things.
personal sentiment aside and just getting the job
Yes,
done.
and maybe we should do a show one day and talk about, the things we need for power, the things you need to develop, What do you need? What are the prerogatives? Let's look at it and really
Maybe we
talk
should
about
do
that.
that next week.
Yeah, we could do that. Could be next week's show.
Thank
It
you.
will be
That's
interesting.
amazing. You know what? I already have the phone lines buzzing, so let's take this call quickly and then I'll open up the rest of it. Oh, sorry, we lost that. Now, if you're listening, you can get across to us. You can join the conversation. This is your home of conversations, right? If you want to get across to us via Twitter, our handle is at Lagos Talks 913, right? Tweet at us, and yes, the Big Bird and I, we're going to be looking at your tweets. If you want to get across to us via WhatsApp, for WhatsApp, you can text us. You can send a 60-second voice note, but I'll advise you text because there's a bit of a technical issue. So if you're going to text, for the number for WhatsApp, it is 0809 2345913. All right? There's a women-only line you can call on. It is 0809 1913913. And another number you can call on 0809 2220913. Lagos Talks.
Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi. Who's speaking? Where are you calling us from?
Please, I'm calling from England.
Oh, please call back. Lagos Talks. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hi. Good morning. Please turn your radio off.
Yes.
All right. Who's speaking? Where are you calling us from?
Yeah, this is John from Bagada.
All right. The Big Bird is here. You can say hi.
Hi. Yeah.
Hello,
How you
Don.
doing? Yeah, I love your analysis. So there's something that they were saying that you do not need love at all before development can be expected in our country. I was feeling somehow about that statement. Then I begin to reason it within the political terrain. That these guys, when they want to grasp power, they don't need to love themselves. They just need to have singularity of interest, which is getting the power. Do you understand? I think Rachel is very right to say that. We don't have to say, oh, we have to love ourselves. We have to just work as a people. Focus. What's our interest? Focus on the interest of our development as a nation. We don't need to say, oh, we have to be united, we have to do this, we have to do one. No. We can see when our pursuit is one, our desire is to achieve that development, then whatever you call unity or oneness, we all play along. Because that is what we are pursuing as a nation.
Yes, Don.
So that's what I think.
That oneness is what is called the Constitution. What you don't want to take, what we don't like about each other, that we don't want this person's own to affect your own or whatever, you put it in the Constitution.
And you abide
Let
by
it guide. Let that guide.
Yes,
Yes. Look at the so-called United Nations.
Are they
Like
really
Fela said,
united?
as Fela said, the beast of no nation. Who and who unite for United Nation? Not be there Iran and Iraq day. No.
And they still went to war.
No. Everybody is fighting there. Russia is there. Ukraine is there. America is there. France is there. People fought 2 world wars. And then after that they created this so-called United Nations that has a Security Council, that has veto votes. That smaller nations cannot just be angry. The bigger nations will say, shut up. That's the unity of the world. That's how the unity works. And in this Security Council, there's no time, that I remember, maybe that happened, that every member of the Security Council voted in the same way.
No, there's always an opposition.
There's always yes, no, abstaining, so where is this unity?
Wow.
What they make it work. Is the making it work that is called unity.
Making it work. I like that. Good morning. Hi.
Morning.
Yes, Lagos Talks. Good morning. Who's speaking?
Yeah, my name is Seun. I'm
Steven.
from Ghana.
All right. You're calling from where? Yaba. All right, yes, Stephen, let's hear you. What do you want to say? Join the
Yes,
conversation.
I want to ask one question.
Okay.
The question I want to ask we say we are united. This country is united. So what is the language of Nigeria? Which language do Nigeria speak as a general language? Because if we go to history, they have their own language. Which language do we have in Nigeria as a united Nigeria? So as far as I'm concerned, the country is not united. That's why that's my own question.
All right, thank you.
But we have pidgin English now.
That's the thing, but people see pidgin as less quality.
It's
use
because
of
it's
the
an
English language.
because it's African and we invent that one.
And
They
if you
don't
want
like
to
her.
teach in the schools, right, using the national, can you use pidgin? Because the kids are...
No, but now didn't they just pass a law that primary and secondary they have to be
taught
teaching in
indigenous
local languages,
languages,
and it's going to help people become at least
Well
understand what
acquainted
is
with
going
the
on in their classroom. It's not by force that everybody must learn in English. I like that. But
what about when they want to transition to tertiary education and they can't quite...
you'll have learned English as a subject now.
But you look at it. Remember, some of us who don't speak our...
They don't
native-
teach physics in university in English in China. It's still in Chinese. Nigeria will still get to the point where Yoruba children will be learning physics, chemistry, all these things in Yoruba language. It's just because our nation itself is not... we don't have a industry for creating books. There should be an industry creating the books that the universities are using, which cuts down the cost. Because if the knowledge is local, and we are using printing local books to teach in our universities, universities libraries will always be stacked. Do you think it's because Europeans can buy all their books that their libraries are working? No, it's because most of the books in their libraries are written by people in Europe. Hence, there's a copy always available. It's printed in Europe. It's there. So there's copies designated for education. This is not for sale. Every year, they'll be sent to libraries. It's easy. It's more convenient. But we don't have those things here. Nobody is investing in those things there because you cannot become a millionaire overnight by investing in those things. So you go through education in Nigeria, for example, without reading any of the books by those people that liberated us in the first place. We don't learn anything. We don't have books about Nkrumah in our curriculum. We don't have books by Frantz Fanon. We don't have books by Marimba Ani. We don't have books by Thomas Sankara. We don't have books by Steve Biko. None of the men that their ideas, actually brought us to where we are today are being taught to our children. So we don't understand that from that perspective. Canada doesn't have one language. How many countries have one language? That's what I'm saying, that you see this unity. France, for example, you go far enough into France, you start getting to Brittany, where they are not speaking French anymore. You understand? They are speaking another language. You go far enough into Spain, you start getting to Catalonia, where they're not speaking Spanish anymore. So let us understand the world before we begin to just say things because that's how we think it is. Because that's how we think it is. Somebody has come to give us some basic analysis. Oh, unity is one language. Unity is one. There is no Nigerian culture. Now that's a different thing. Nigeria as a nation has no culture. Language does not matter. What matters is culture. We have no national culture. And we don't have national culture because we have not developed the nation. It is in the process of national development that national culture is built. Because that process of national development has not been embarked upon, we have not developed a national culture. So we have all our regional cultures. Yoruba have their culture, Igbo have their culture, Hausa people have their culture, Efik people have their culture. Everybody has their culture. But until all these people come together to build Nigeria, in the process we mix, we know each other. That is when a national culture is built. The American culture of American exceptionalism was built during the era that they were stealing the land from the natives and building the rails and America and we can do anything, so this is how culture is built. So I understand that if people say we don't have a national culture, yes, that's fact. We don't have a national culture and we must develop that by developing our nation. Developing your nation gives you a national culture. But to start saying, language, this is secondary. I've been to developed nations that they don't speak one language. In Canada, for example, one part is English, one part is French.
Exactly. And they're thriving.
Completely. And I don't know, even though they say it's English, trust me, you go far enough in England and you stop understanding the English that they are speaking. I went to school in Liverpool, and if you are from Nigeria and they drop you in Liverpool, you are not understanding that English. It's called Scouser. You go to St. Helens, it's different. The way they speak. As in, I was there, they're talking to me, I'm looking like this. Like, what is this person saying? And it's supposed to be English. So, everybody, even among Yoruba people, I'm Yoruba, I pride myself in my Yoruba-ness. But I follow my mother one time to Ekiti, and they're speaking Yoruba to me in Ekiti. And I don't understand.
Dialect, you can't tell.
What is this person saying? I'm like, Mom, what are they saying? And, they're speaking Yoruba though. So, I mean, come on with language thing.
All right. Wow, I like that. But I know that there are some people who would still say, no, we should have one language. But then if ever we're to have one language, maybe Pidgin might be good, right?
We have Pidgin. I mean, what is and if you want to really this is another thing, because we just don't have that in our national psyche. It is not hard to, if you really want to understand somebody's language and speak, go and learn the language.
Wow.
We have African people that can speak German, French, Portuguese, this one, but they cannot speak Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, but they can speak. They don't learn all the international language finish.
They learned it.
They've forgotten. They've forgotten to learn.
Maybe because they lost faith in the country, and they feel like.
So that's our problem. That's what exactly. We don't have the development of our nation as our goal. If we as Nigerians, regardless of what these our political and business elites are doing, if Nigerian people themselves refuse to be an ally to these elites and instead choose to align ourselves to our nation, to our national development, it will even be harder for them to get with what they are doing.
Because the people are watching.
Exactly. No, because the people are not compliant.
Yeah,
and we are not complicit. Many of us today are happy to take our position to continue to destroy this country for them, while we go home and complain at night. You sit there in the bank, laundering money all day. Then you go and complain that roads are not being built, or you don't have light. Why will you have light? Other file you filed today is the reason. So we must look at the things that we do as well that is against our nation progressing. Everybody is happy to be running around doing businesses with people that are damaging the country. All these low-cost housing estates, that the low-cost flats, 1 bedroom low-cost flat is 23 million. So, where's the low cost? Where is that low cost? Who is affording that? So everybody, we just need to, instead of postulating, let's get involved and align ourselves with, show our allegiance to our nation, and all these things will fall into place, I believe.
All right, so very quickly, it's not too much of a topic, but we spoke about the cash withdrawal policy, right, by the CBN, the Central Bank of Nigeria, saying that as of last week, individuals could withdraw only about 100,000 naira over the counter, and corporate bodies could withdraw only 500,000 naira. However, there has been a review, and it's been said now there's a new directive which says that individuals can withdraw up to 500,000 naira weekly, and organizations 5 million naira weekly, right? So now the thing is, for some of these organizations, even if you say for the individuals, someone called yesterday and was like, oh, I don't know individuals that use up to 500k a week. I was like, are you sure?
Let me be honest. I do. But we are in such a minority. Like, how this issue can be so amplified just shows that it is people that have money in this country that matter. How this matter is such a national issue, and the fact that children are dying in our hospitals as we speak for drugs that are 2,000 naira, but it's never it's never in the paper. The infant mortality rate in this country is alarming. The pregnant mothers dying while giving birth, the rate of it in this country is alarming. But it doesn't cause such national fervor and outcry and outrage. It really shows me that Nigeria is a country for the few. For those people with 500 that want to spend 500 naira, 1,000 a week. Those are the people that Nigeria matters. I said that this thing is the issue because I don't know how many people in this our building as we are sitting down here like this can really brag that they are spending 500,000 a month. But suddenly, this issue that people cannot take 500,000, 100,000 a week is an issue in this country. You know, I don't know. It's not my issue. I don't even have money. That's what I always say. I don't have money enough that the amount of money that we withdraw a week, you know, is a problem for me.
But what about the corporate organizations that deal with cash more than?
Just give me an example of is it in the telco? I'm more concerned with telcos giving me internet that is working well and phone lines that call one time when I try to dial, and then calls that don't drop. I care more about their services improving than the amount of money they can access weekly. To each his own.
Okay. You know what? Let's take some messages on WhatsApp because I'm getting a bit. Well, don't carry me where I don't know. In the sense that I'm enjoying this conversation, but of course I have to, just be neutral, remain neutral, put sentiment aside. So someone here says, most of what we suffer in Nigeria is artificially created, and thank you for the interaction, the big bird. That's for you. Someone else here says, good morning, Seun, Kuti, and Paula. My name is Paula. Thank God. Thank God it's Friday again, the People's Perspective program. Please, I have sent several messages without attention. I needed media power to project innovative ideas for our national transformation. Can you contact? And he puts a number.
Let me teach you how to do that too. You have to go to the radio stations yourself, and they will run you round. But don't give up. Text message and calling cannot do it. Let me just tell you that. You have to come in person. You go to the reception. You drop what you want. You say, whoa, but at least it will. At one point, they will now answer you. Don't give up. Let me just give you the advice down now.
Okay, Kewelansky from Delta says, if we go by that, Falanis in Nigeria has no state of origin in Nigeria. All I'm saying is Nigeria should be defined. We can't continue to exist on a sentimental phrase or slogan of one Nigeria. That's all I'm saying. Your facts are fact, but what have we done? For instance, British is Wales and England. Great Britain is England, Wales, Scotland, and United Kingdom is Great Britain plus Northern Ireland. Have we defined Nigeria? That is my question, and the answer is no. It has nothing to do with whether you're saying the truth or the fact is it is simply Nigeria is a mere geographical expression. We can't attain nationhood by luck or sentiment.
But the issue with that is that whether it's just a mere geographical expression as Awolowo said or not, even the person that said it, vied to be president of the so-called geographical expression. And he was vying to be president of that geographical expression for a reason. Nigeria is viable. It's viable. It has made many people billionaires. Nigeria can improve the lives of the African people that are contained within it. What we have to change is we have to change Nigeria from being a prison to those people to becoming a nation to those people. Sure. In this country today is because we don't see ourselves as people worthy. We don't see ourselves as human beings. We see ourselves from the eyes of our oppressors, who just see us as tools, interests to be used, push up and down as they like. You understand what I'm saying? Whether we like it or not, the North is going through whatever kind of revolution it is going through a revolution right now.
Really?
Yes. There are a group of people that are armed that are fighting the state.
True.
Whether we like it or not, that is what is going on there. A group, what they are fighting for might not make sense to many of us. And many of us might not agree to what they are fighting for. But people in the North have had it to the extent where they are going through armed rebellion against the state. And they are the only ones that we can say are doing that. Now in the East also, hip-hop, in the name of hip-hop, there's armed resistance against the state. Whether we like it or not, it's going to spread everywhere. Igboho was trying to start it in
In the southwest.
in the southwest. But until whether there's 1 million armed resistance against the state, until the ideology is clear in respect to the fact that how we want to bring about the development of the people within this geographical expression. It is real, whether we like it or not. This is real. Nigeria is real.
True.
It is so real that it is destroying millions of lives every year. You know, so we can postulate and be talking about, oh, it is not one nation, it is one, whatever it is, until we take control of it,
It would haunt us.
it will continue to harm the people that are trapped within it. So that is what must happen. It must be brought under control, one way or the other.
But Nigerians, you know what? It's a sensitive topic. I was going to talk about revolution, but maybe off air we'll talk about that. Yeah, but I understand everything you're saying. However, you know, the intention of the people who are trying to challenge the system in the north, a lot of people are not really happy about that because, of course, their beliefs, it borders on their beliefs.
Yes, that's what I'm saying, that whatever it is, you know,
They've just had enough of the system.
whatever it is, you know, nobody in Nigeria is happy with the way this country is being run. So some people want to use arms, some people, we must find every means possible to rescue ourselves from whatever this geographical expression is doing to us. I believe that we as Nigerian people, we can organize politically. You know, that Africans don't need to matter themselves. You know, we don't need to matter ourselves when we can politically organize to take power. If the path is there, African blood should not be spilled.
All right, Kewelansky from Delta says, Ojukwu, who, as we were meant to believe, was the most educated military personnel then, proposed an accord, in quotes, which he believes Nigeria should exist on, different from those terms of the colonialists. What did we do? Instead of countering it with a more encompassing proposal, we demonized it and we labeled him divisive and chose to go with someone who said Nigeria's problem was not money but how to spend it. Instead, we adopted a slogan, One Nigeria, and continued with this fox of a country. Look, we may have been handed a country, but nationhood takes conscious, deliberate, and defined effort, not by fluke, not by force or fiat like we have today. In summary, Nigeria is where it is supposed to be due to the fundamentals we chose to ignore. Someone here says, Olatunde says, good morning. I think the devious people deliberately confuse us by using the word unity when they mean uniformity. Humans cannot be uniformed because we have our unique identities, but humans can unite to achieve a purpose. We need unity of purpose by coming together to negotiate a true constitution of the people trapped in this place called Nigeria. But some people will not allow that because they're scared the Niger Delta will ask to leave. Thank you, Big Bird and Paula. Tade says, Brother Seun Kuti, where can we get that, the West and the rest of us? But I always enjoy your bird eye view. Please be more consistent, brother. More powers, Tade. All right. So,
You see, the West and the rest of us actually was written by Nigeria.
really?
Yes, and it has gone out of print. You know, and it's incredible that that kind of book goes out of print. Why? Because it is not tied into the Nigerian academic curriculum.
Wow.
If those books were recommended reading in the university, then by sheer volume of demand, they will still be in production. But books that will liberate us, that will give us the ideas that we need as African people to free ourselves, are not encouraged, you know, are not supported by African governments. I mean, in the whole Nigeria, there's no university that has Pan-Africanism as a course.
True.
How can I want to learn Pan-Africanism, African studies, I have to leave Africa and go to New York
And learn from Malcolm X and W.E. Du Bois.
You know, so we need to, as African people, you know, as Nigerian people, there's so much we need to rethink and rejig. Definitely, Nigeria was not set up for the benefit of the people inside of it.
But then I saw recently there's been a proposal to introduce anti-corruption as a subject or a course, like, you know, some form of indoctrination in primary schools and secondary schools. And I thought that this was a welcome would I say, welcome policy, or something to look forward to? Because just having kids from when they're young see corruption, which has plagued Nigeria for the longest time, for them to just see it as something they should never do, I feel like it's gonna wipe out generations of corruption to come. But I don't know. Do you think that's something to look forward
But
to?
corruption is so innately human. That the corruption will always exist. There's no country in this world.
Really?
I mean, which government is honest with the
But
people?
ours is too much, I feel. Maybe.
The issue with Nigerian corruption is that Nigerian corruption is ingrained with treason. It's the treasonous nature of the corruption that is wrong. It's American corruption. Okay, let me give you a scenario of American corruption quickly before we have 5 more minutes.
Yes.
Let me give you a scenario of what corruption is in America. Just one quick look. The budget of America is about $1.7 trillion a year. Half of that this year, which is $850 billion, is going to the defense. In the defense, in the military industrial complex of America, it is an exclusively white industry. There are no black players there. There are no Arab players there. There are no Asian players there. There are no Indian. It's the white. So this is the government's way of, before we even talk anything, half of the money first go to whites.
And some past American public office holders they've been arms dealers.
Yes, and
manufacturers.
so from there now they start lobbying, spending the money. Bill Gates will be created through the military industrial complex. But you'll be thinking Bill Gates is selling computer to you. No, Bill Gates makes his money from his contracts with the American military. As he might be going around the world making mad, we want a peaceful world. We don't want war. He's still the one supplying all the computer that the military is using to bomb anybody. Amazon is in charge of the American military logistics. These people have massive billions of dollar contracts that is making them the richest men in the world. It's coming directly from this money taken away from welfare for black people, because for that 850 billion to go, they must defund education, just like here. You understand?
Defund housing.
But this money is circulating within their nation, is building their nation. Maybe to the detriment of some of their citizens.
But it's still within the country.
But come to our own country.
I understand that.
I
understand that.
Our own corruption is not only defunding our people, it's also defunding our nation, because they're not taking this money. It's not circulating within. They're using to go and buy things that the country does not make. You see, those American rich men will not go and start buying things like Rolls Royce.
Oh, they just get a nice house in the Hamptons.
No. They say buy yacht, $150 million yacht, helicopter, they land on top. They have to buy the helicopter to land on top. But who is making all these things? Yeah. Fellow Americans, fellow Europeans. For them to enjoy that luxury, they have created the markets for it. Okay. They have, in a way, even though for me it is an evil way, they've earned what it means to be a bourgeoisie. But you see, this is our own petit bourgeoisie, as Frans Fanon called them. They've earned nothing. They've built nothing. But they want to enjoy what those real bourgeoisie are. So you have to now take the money that
they seek the rewards outside. And
exactly. Their rewards are not of their people, are not of them, like the Europeans. They reward themselves with their things. So our own corruption has to go and reward the Europeans also, so that they can get European things. To the detriment of their own nation, sucking their nation dry and taking the money to go and empower others. You see how treasonous? So it's the treasonous nature of our corruption that is the problem. And as long as all of us are still tied to this materialistic idea that we also want to live like that you want to get money so you can build big house, buy big car, buy big chain, wear Gucci every day, wear Louis Vuitton every day, you are also in a way you are tied. So we as Africans, we are not made to think that we have to create these things.
We see foreigners better.
That is aside, but we also they don't make us understand that we have to create what we want to enjoy. True. You understand that without creating what we want to enjoy, that there's nothing to enjoy.
Speaking about enjoying, I'm enjoying this conversation. Unfortunately, I feel like there isn't much time left. I'm so sorry. We're gonna take this last call and sorry about that. But
You see what I'm saying about the telcos?
ah,
Every line you pick it, bang, 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 and they'll still collect their 2 seconds money.
all right, it's time for us to say goodbye. But before we go, the Big Bird, any last words for those who want to keep up with you?
You can follow us on Instagram, Big Bird Kuti on Instagram, Seun kuti on Facebook, Real Seun Kuti on Twitter. You know, Elon Musk, don't kick me out too. I say
And
you
follow
the best,
Lagos
no.
Talks across all social media platforms. It is at Lagos Talks 913. My handle on Instagram at Paula Chine,